Emergency, breaking news as we enjoy this town music from Xenogears. pDAI's prophecy is making progress. Right now, all over the PulseChain community, there is a debate about a secret address, 0x00000369, known as a burner address. We have now confirmed with Sam Altman's Israeli robot, otherwise known as ChatGPT, it is possible to spend the tokens in this burner address without having the key. So you got to remember, friends, we're on crypto, the land of crypto. So your tokens, when we say, oh, you hold your tokens, you never actually hold your tokens. Your tokens live on the internet. They live on the chain, okay? What you hold is a key. You hold the key to the vault. It's like going to the bank, right? Maybe the gold in your vault stays there the whole time. You just hold the key, yeah? Like your ID, all right? So your key can unlock your own vault, right? So we're going to go through, I'm going to show you how ChatGPT says it's possible, but it has to involve changes that happen at the fork of PulseChain. But don't look at the details like that and think, how do we get to the final answer? You don't need to know that, okay? All you need to know is it's history repeating again. Do you remember in March of this year, everybody was saying infinite minting, pDAI is going to zero and staying to zero. It's all broken. Do you remember that? And you can see it on the charts here. You remember these, friends. This is the pDAI price chart. Went to zero here, and then it went to zero again. Literally went to zero again for the second time. But right here, they were saying it, friends. pDAI's price, it's actually up like 5.5x from when they said infinite minting. We were in Twitter Spaces, friends. When I was in Twitter Spaces, literally 18 people saying, infinite minting! Look at the chain. The supply is going up. Ah, soy. Their voices were echoing with love of soy so much. But it turns out, I don't care, bro. We're up 500%. Like, you understand how embarrassing it is for everybody who just yelled at the top of their lungs. It's broken. Infinite minting. Give it up. We can see on chain. I know how it works. Okay, if you're so smart, why didn't you buy? Because it's up 500%. Tell me. Tell all of us. If you're so smart, why didn't you buy? Let's continue. So, your friend Sommi has discovered the pDAI prophecy is real regarding the burn address. So, friends, what I've done is I've gone a bit off script. And what I mean by that is, what I did is, this is a calling from the universe, okay? I just decided, I go, you know what? I'm going to start talking to Sam Altman's Israeli bot, ChatGPT. I'm going to start asking AI how this can work, okay? And I start digging deeper. Nobody told me to do this, okay? So this is, I could be going off script, or which means I could be like telling you about chapter 10 when we're only in chapter 5. So we'll see. My nipples do remain pegged as well. I've got to remind you as well. This is very, very, very important. Nipples still remain pegged. Get all the band-aids ready. So I asked, right, let's actually give you the juice. I asked ChatGPT, right, are you saying it's possible that even though Richie Fart, who used to live on top of a sandwich shop, who does not have the keys to this address, okay, because it's cryptographically secured, the only way for you by default to spend money from any address is you need to have the key. You need to generate the key. It's like a very large number. The problem is, to generate like such a number with a specific number of zeros that far, you need more energy than almost like atoms in the universe. That's how impossible it is to generate this, okay? So, and also just some information that you know, which is going to be useful later. There's only one pure dead address in Ethereum land. It is 0x000000, all of the zeros. It's an actual specific address. It has no keys to it. Even if you can solve it by quantum one day, there are no keys to this address. Nothing can ever be sent from it, that specific burn address. So on PulseChain, though, very suspiciously, Richard doesn't use that. He uses another one. Like, why would you go out of your way to make another burner address with the 369 at the end? So let's keep that in mind, okay? So I asked ChatGPT, is it possible for Richie Fart, okay, man who used to live on top of a sandwich shop, you don't have the key, can he spend... Is there any way he can spend money, tokens from this 369 address here, can he spend money from there, right, by doing something? And the answer is yes, technically it's possible. Is there a secret workaround, even though he doesn't have the key? So ChatGPT, only if the fork's authors intentionally put a protocol level exception in place, Genesis or state, or a privileged system contract. It's not the same as the private key being used. It's a protocol override that makes the chain behave as if another entity controls that address. So this is what I got to tell you, friends, as well. You got to remember, from our perspective, I'm not a technical dude. I don't know, okay? But we were all here. You were here. I was here. When pDAI was going to zero and Richard Hart did 33 tweets and everyone's saying infinite minting inflation bug, you don't understand, dude. It went up 1,000% from that point. It went up 1,000%. Literally, that's when it hit 0.75 cents. So, like, we had all these people saying, I'm a technical expert. I work with blockchain. I know how these things work. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Look at me. Listen to me. The thing's broken. Blah, blah, blah. And then they all got it wrong. Not like one person, friends. You understand, there's literally like 20. Every single community, okay? I'm not going to go and just name names. I don't want anyone to think I'm not targeting you. I'm telling you, name a community. Someone stuck their neck out, Charlie Kirk style, and come out and says, you know what? You're all a scam. Infinite minting. You even bound together with your love of hating pDAI together, and they all hate each other. This is interesting, friends. Anywhere from any extreme. I'm not going to name names, but every single community, there's someone who hates them, okay? And they bound together. They said, you know what? It's not gay if we're holding hands, but no one's looking at us. Let's unite in our love just to shit on pDAI, which it's interesting right now. I don't have any bad blood for this. I don't care, friends, because ultimately we got to think bigger, okay? We're all on the same team. It is cool to see for me. I don't care about anybody else, okay, when it comes to this. I'm long, okay? It's cool to see for me a cult within a cult, or a contrarian coin on a contrarian chain. It's like fractaling within itself. It really is cool for me to see this. So remember, there's currently a debate between non-believers regarding the 369 burner address and whether the funds are accessible or not. So the tokens in there, there's like $9 billion, but a lot of it is just like, most of it's like illiquid coins. But it's not about today. You got to think about the future, because the future implications of the PulseX Buy-and-Burn address and accessing its future power could be huge. Like, for example, if it is possible to do something like that, what it means is the buy-and-burn. So what it means is, friends, remember PulseX, the protocol, okay? Now, it's funny. It's interesting, right? Behind my pDAI necklace here, the other side's PulseX. If PulseX is doing a buy-and-burn, okay, so it's buying up PulseX and then it's putting it in an address. What you can do is, this is Richard Hart, that's what we're thinking, the secret layer 2 stuff of how you can transfer value without transferring tokens that Richard Hart hinted in 2022. What you can do is, the tokens never leave. They stay in the burner address. They stay in the address, okay? They never leave. What you can trade, though, is a key or an encapsulated stake that represents transfer of value from here. It's kind of like, friends, if you had a vault of gold, but there's a key. And basically the gold never leaves the vault, but you can trade the key around, okay? You can trade the key and it can get a value and stuff out there, but the gold never leaves, right? It stays one place. But this is the best part, right? It's cryptographically secured on the internet. It's like you had an amazing vault on an island on Earth, but it's secured by some anti-gravity UFO tech bubble that nobody can actually penetrate. All you could trade is a key to get around. Literally nobody in the universe can get around it. That's how cool it is if this thing works out. So Sam Altman's Israeli bot, ChatGPT, confirmed there is a secret workaround trick to allow you to spend the balance without having the keys. Okay, so without doing it, right? That's why I got to remind you. They all said, you can't, stupid, you're all dumb. There's more atoms in the universe than required for you to be able to blah, 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 blah. Why don't you just go ask ChatGPT, okay? It would have told you this in 5 seconds. That's what I went and did. Now, basically, upon PulseChain Fork, the PulseChain pioneers would have to deploy a special system contract that includes consensus code, treat address 0x369 as controllable by contract ABC. So that's one way. Now, friends, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know. And by the way, it doesn't change my thesis whether it is or isn't, okay? Even if none of this is a nothing burger, it doesn't change my thesis. I'm still long, okay? But I'm just showing you this is some interesting developments coming on later. But still, we need tech people to check everything. ChatGPT did provide a list. So what I'm going to now show you, friends, remember, this is the pDAI chart. And first and foremost, look, friends, like I said, I'm not a technical guy. I'm begging for a pegging. I don't care, dude. I can see the price action. To me, I like this. This, to me, remember, friends, it's astrology, okay? Click sell if you don't like it. Click sell and go do something else with your life. But I like the fact that this thing went to zero twice, and it seems to just be gliding up over time, okay? Past performance is not an indication of future results. It's a stupid coin. If you don't like it, you can click sell and leave. Now, remember, I don't know how to check all this stuff. Few people do. But we've actually messaged NineIronCapital. Look at this. NineIronCapital, I'm going to show you some tweets later. NineIronCapital, friends, remember, NineIronCapital. He's a respected member of PulseChain. Unknown, mysterious, totally hidden. He drops hints for the next narratives. He always seems to know what comes next. I was there in the channel. He told us they were about to collapse the Atropa pools, and I was like, collapse? What do you mean collapse? That doesn't sound nice. Bang, we went to zero straight away, okay? So it's just, you know what I mean? He also talked about potential cataclysm, or maybe it wasn't him. It was maybe one of the other alt accounts. But it just seems like there's some PulseChain pioneer activity, if you know what I mean, all right? Now you got to remember, friends, as well, if you're sidelined, you go, but what do they go, Sommi, only 10% of people actually believe in pDAI and PulseChain. The other 90% don't. What's the explanation for NineIronCapital? How do they justify it? Well, here's the thing, friends. There's cognitive bias, right? Because you're a non-believer of something, your brain spends all of its energy to ignore information. It's called selective attention. So even though I can give 5 pieces of literally evidence and proof and timestamps of them being an insider and things happening, because people don't believe, because in their mind, right, they see it impossible for pDAI to be $1. So therefore their brain, what they're doing is they're basically canceling out anything that proves otherwise. This is a very normal human thing, okay? It's just like people who think crypto is destined to go to zero, so their brains will never admit or even learn that there's ways to get value out of crypto, for example, okay? So I like looking at the price action, and here's the thing, man. Something that survives going to zero twice and coming back up to the right, I like that. I'm very interested. So NineIronCapital hinted, this is where it's getting very, very interesting right here. He hinted there was a 6-hour delay window at the start of PulseChain launch, which implies some change was done. He even made some suspicious posts calling them potential attack vectors, which sounds like Richard Hart trying to explain the reason why he took these precautions upon launch. So he referred to potential attack vector as in, why did you nominate the burner address as 0x00000369? Why didn't you just make it all the zeros repeating? Because like, why would you open yourself up to a quantum computer attack in 3 years that can just literally come solve for your burner address and send all the PulseX Buy-and-Burn to zero themselves and take all the money? Why would you open yourself up to? So that's why it's all like, it's circumstantial when you're looking at all these together, okay? That's why, friends, unless you really think Richard Hart's just a retardio. All right, look, I don't think anybody who lived on top of a sandwich shop, I don't think they're a retardio. Let's continue. Even if the burner address has no signs of a special contract, it doesn't change my thesis at all. However, sidelined copers will continue to cope and seethe as the price ticks up. So what you will see, friends, now is, let me just tell you as it happens in real time. People, friends, they're not looking at the pDAI price chart at all. So they're not seeing this absolute glory run, okay? They're not seeing that whatsoever. What they're doing is their brain goes, okay, this whole thing's a scam in their minds and nothing's going to work. So what they'll do is they'll grab like random comment number 15 from a Twitter post where someone says, the burner address is going to peg for us. It's going to be great. And what they'll do is they'll copy paste it, or they'll tweet it, and then they'll say, there's a false narrative going around with the pDAI idiots that this burner address is going to be used to peg pDAI. And that's all they will do. Okay, they'll grab that. But the thing is, friends, the most beautiful and humbling thing about markets is their opinions literally mean zero. You know what opinion matters? The price chart. Okay, so as they continue to cope and seethe, the price chart will continue to go up from the point where they said there was an infinite minting inflation bug. And Gravestone Emoji Day, where they declared it dead, okay, if you're going to play that game, when they declared it dead, we are up 1,200%, so 13x from that point. When pDAI goes to a cent, we will be up 36 times our money. When pDAI goes back to the all-time high, we will be up 112 times every dollar invested from Gravestone Emoji Day. And they'll still continue to cope and seethe. So friends, in summary, okay, yes, it is possible to spend tokens from a burner address, this one, 0369, without having keys, but you need to set it upon launch. You can only spend tokens from that address with a special contract set up first, okay? That vanity address. And also we have this wonderful picture that I made of pDAI, me grabbing the peg, Zelda styles, with the logos out here. Now let's continue. It's going to get a bit more juicy. Now I've got a post here, right? And just let me tell you something quickly as well. This is very important. Most people, friends, they will say, look, I get it. So you want to know what's the big discrepancy? The whole discrepancy is money is needed to peg pDAI, to get it to $1. Money's needed, but people don't see it. So they want to be told, where is that money coming from? Okay, but you got to understand, if you knew where the money's coming from, the price would be up at like 50 cents already, if you're really convinced, okay? The price is low for a reason. It's because it's nowhere there, or it's never going to happen, okay? But, you know, you might be buying Bitcoin at $1,000 saying, oh, BlackRock's going to own this one day, you know, but there's no evidence BlackRock wants to own Bitcoin when it was $1,000, right? It was considered a complete Ponzi scam. When did they show evidence they want to buy it? When Bitcoin was $30,000, okay? That's what ended up happening many, many years later. So NineIronCapital made an interesting response to my request of checking for a special smart contract. So I asked him, Mr. Nine, are we ready for the next phase, friend? Can we check it? He goes, we can check. It's just hard. I've been searching for it since I put out that post. We are all asking the right questions. So as soon as he said that, I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's play some music. That sounds very suspicious. Very suspicious. So my translation, when he said, oh, we're trying to look for it, it's hard. Okay, my translation. I can't give the non-believers the proof that they want right now because they'll buy it too early. They have to buy it 10 cents or higher. So that's, if you understand, friends, we're all seeing the same information. That's how I interpret it. Okay, and here I have Happy Gilmore. I've got more pictures of Happy Gilmore coming out. So, you know, that's why if you're sidelined, which is okay, friends, you know, it was good to be sidelined on BitConnect and Terra Luna, wasn't it? Yeah, and sidelined on Hex for the past 4 years. It has been good, right? So it doesn't not a bad thing if you're sidelined. However, if you are sidelined, your brain will be constantly telling you, you know what? That's somebody who wants exit liquidity. You know, what a convenient answer. You could say that. You could interpret it that way. My interpretation is I'm not going to find you that link yet because the price ain't high enough. That's what they want. They want to see it. They want to see someone found this special thing. And I've got to remind you as well, friends, nobody hinted to me to check the burner address thing in ChatGPT. So it's possible I am going off script or I'm too early for it. So I expect immediate silence from any pioneer, okay? So if I'm asking, I'm on the right path. See how, friends, I said this. It's funny, and then 99 responded. He goes, oh yeah, dead end. Don't know, can't find it. Can't find it. By the way, he was the one who hinted it. That's funny. Here's more Happy Gilmore stuff. Just go in your hole. Just go in your hole. Now is where it gets more interesting. So you're probably wondering, okay, Sommi, so upon PulseChain launch, was there any indication that a change was done? Let's look at NineIronCapital's posts here. There is a 6-hour window between the Ethereum snapshot and PulseChain's first epoch. Why? Simple. This is when you make all of the necessary changes to PulseChain system's state and Genesis block before they set up the validators collectively confirming it as the correct starting block. So he himself made that post. He goes, it's what, friends, you see how it's like it's leading you down a path you just don't know. You're like, oh, there was a change. There was a 6-hour window. Something could have happened in this window. Okay, and by the way, he was the one who told me to look at his posts. These two parts should make more sense now. Read it again. So that's what I'm showing you, the posts he just told me to look at, okay? I've got another post from him as well where he goes, look, but this begs the question, why leave this vector open? If you are forking PulseChain, or forking Ethereum to make PulseChain, and you own the validators from the software, why not just ensure you have access to these wallets in the future? Interesting. So this is where you can approve a remote wallet to withdraw assets in the future. Yes, this is possible without private keys for ERC20 tokens in a controlled fork. So he was hinting to us in these other nerd words, yes, you can approve when you fork it, you can add something. You go, okay, for that address, it's allowed, you can spend stuff from that address from something else. You can actually withdraw from it, which implies, hey, does that mean the burner address stuff can be withdrawn? Very interesting. I've got a lovely message here from Pre-Showered Crypto. So when the 369 dead address concept came up, my next idea was the PulseX Buy-and-Burn connection. Then later that day, I thought about the no expectations address. So friends, just to remind you, PulseX, it's buy and burn. It does like 0.07%, okay? There's a 6 and there's a 1. The 6% is the buy and burn, but it does this 1, it says no expectations. And no one's ever been told what it may or may not be used for. So it's kind of like a separation of things, okay? But you gotta remember, the PulseX Buy and Burn, it relies on Pulse Chain activity trading, okay? So it does set it up. That's why NineIronCapital says, this is why he says, why leave the attack vector open? Why just put all the coins in one address? You could do something with it, okay? So it all relates to maybe multiple layers of the chain, layer 2s, encapsulating stuff. Remember, friends, the example I showed you of the key, you know? So you can put like the coin somewhere. They never move, but a key trades around. A key trades around it, you know? So then, you know, because there's no laws around this. If you have a key and a vault, what's got the, friends, this is the funny part, what's got the actual value? What has the value? You know? If you throw away the key and the gold is locked in the vault, maybe everything goes to 0. But the gold, there's the value. But you need the key. You know, how do you make laws for that? What if you make 15 keys? Do the 15 keys trade with like, you know, you see what I mean, friends? You could just keep making keys to unlock keys to unlock keys to unlock keys. You could all do this on the internet. So you just get around all the tax loopholes and country loopholes. That's the power of cryptography. And it might be useful. Like I said, Richard Hart, he hinted in 2022. He said, literally his quote, I found the way to transfer value without transferring tokens, but I'm going to wait for the regulators to shoot themselves in the foot first before I open my mouth. Could be watching right now. So Mr. Dirty Crypto continues. There is 217 billion PulseX, apparently $5 million worth at the absolute bottom of the cycle that could theoretically be used for a backstop collateral for pDAI. Then I saw 99's old post about PulseX Buy-and-Burn, which I just showed you, right, being used as collateral. This reason this is happening is because when you discover one thing, logic brings you all to the same spot. We're all thinking along the same lines. So, your friends, what I'm sharing with you, okay, you know our friend CZ, friends, you know Binance CZ, you know what we're doing conceptually? BNB Token already does this. BNB, but they don't tell it to you. They don't tell it to you. It's a centralized exchange. So BNB, they collect fees from all the tokens they have for trading. The fees go into a pool, and they dumping each coin of trading volume, and like a liquidity vortex, it's pushing up the BNB price. Let me show it to you. Okay, this is BNB. This is BNB's price. You see that? You see this, friends? It's doing this over time. Now, the thing is, it's not automatic. So you're waiting for a guy, some sweaty Asian dude in an internet cafe, smoking some cigarettes. You're relying on him pushing the button to start funneling money in. Now, they use the buy and burn defensively. And Binance, they don't talk about it because it creates expectations. It could break international securities laws, and they want the right to stop this if it doesn't work. But this, obviously, it's what they do. You can actually see that they did this in the bear market, friends. This is, you know, nobody in crypto has ever spoken about what I'm telling you now. Literally no one. I'm the only person in crypto still to this day, not even any tweets. No, not even any tweets, friends. I'm the only person to ever tell you that Binance does this. And you can see this in our bear market 2022. What Binance did is they left a big bid on BNB token. So as Bitcoin was capitulating, BNB token had a huge bid. And the wall was so thick, nobody could chop it down. So the BNB BTC ratio went through the moon. And then when Bitcoin bottomed out, Bitcoin started running up, but the wall of BNB, they didn't move it up. They just left it there because they wanted to be a defensive token. They don't want it to be like a moonshot parabolic. They want it to be nice and safe. But remember, they can control whether it's safe or not based off how they, in a centralized fashion, control it because it's centralized exchange. Okay, but Richard Hart's stuff, it's decentralized. The PulseX Buy-and-Burn happens whether you like it or not. It just goes off the activity. Like you can't tell the buy-and-burn, hey, save all your money and in the next bear market, let's use the money up. You can't do that, right? Unless maybe you coded it, but it'd be very hard to code. How do you code it? You need price oracles. And then how do you define what a bear market is? So we don't do that, right? That's why I guess PulseX is designed to pump really hard in a bull market, but then the bear market's probably going to flop down hard because the volume drops down too, right? Whereas BNB, they can just set the bid there. So you got to think about the future, friends. This is me replying to Dirty Crypto. Think of future trading activity. Everyone who trades on PulseChain will be reinforcing the peg with their buy and burns over time. I'll be making a full video. This is the video I'm telling you now. So the buy and burn of PulseX, friends, remember, it's based off the trading activity, just like how BNB has it, Binance chain. But PulseX, remember, it's used right now. It drags up Pulse PLS. So I don't know the exact ratios or the plan for everything, but everything reinforces each other. Okay, and you also have Hart's law with all the liquidity ratios. So this is very important, right? Just some general notes here for you. Understand this first. PulseX has a buy and burn for PulseX, PLSX, which goes into a burner address, right? So Binance, they do that similarly, but Binance is centralized fashion. They can turn it on, they can turn it off. They don't tell you they do it. They use it defensively. That's my conclusion from seeing that. And also CZ has hinted they use it defensively. If another contract controls the burner address, right, you can encapsulate the tokens in there. Okay, remember the whole example I shared with you? It's kind of like trading the key. The key example I just showed, which is right here. So if you have, you know, your tokens here, the tokens just sit on the burner address, yeah? And this key you can trade around. Okay, that's the trick. That's the trick. Now you might say, but Sommi, what if they update laws so that the keys are also taxable? Well, you understand, how do you prove someone knows or doesn't know a key? How do you know that? It's kind of like if you had a vault with a PIN number. How do you prove that you know the PIN number? Okay, what if someone changes the PIN number? And then you can prove you don't know the next PIN number, but you know the next one after that, but you just don't tell them you do. What do you do now? What if the PIN code's 1234 and then you show a government, hey, the PIN I put in 1234 doesn't work anymore. Therefore, I don't have access to this vault. Therefore, I am not liable for anything in this vault. Therefore, I've lost the keys. Give me a tax write-off. I've got nothing. I've got no assets anymore. How do you prove that? How do you prove they do know or don't know? Do you understand? That's why they have to update crypto laws. That's why also Richard Hart, who used to live on top of a sandwich shop, it's amazing, man. He was thinking about this 5 years ago. He was thinking about this 5 years ago, man. It's kind of funny. So this allows you to transfer value without transferring tokens. Of course, there's more technical know-how, encapsulating stuff. Richard Hart did mention encapsulating a stake. He loved that whole Grayscale buy-only thing. So something keeps going into an address like the Bitcoin ETF, the Grayscale one, but you can never withdraw out. That's like the buy and burn. That's the burner address. It's buy only, but you only trade an encapsulated stake, which is a theoretical claim. It's a theoretical ownership claim on the burner address, and it has to trade its own value. Yeah. Look, friends, that's why I'm telling you. Look, all of this could be straight Fugazi, magic, going down. I don't give a shit. Okay, I don't give a crap. Oh, like, as far as I'm concerned, pDAI went to zero twice. Everyone said it's got an infinite minting inflation bug, but the price is up 550% from when he said it was going to zero. And then it's up 1,200% from literally gravestone emoji day. So people who are all these technical experts, like you're literally, bro, you're like the blue pill cucks. You're getting slammed here. However, luckily for you, friends, we are all brothers and sisters, okay? Let's say somebody did capitulate in. Man, this is where, like, if the prophecies are true, even if you have to buy pDAI at 5 cents, like, it's still 20x away to $1. You know what I mean? That's the power of getting into a first stock unicorn, because the market doesn't understand it. And by the way, you don't have to. Okay, sell that stupid coin. I've never told anybody to buy. Go do whatever you want. So I've explained it here, right? It's like it's similar to you leaving a car in the garage, but you move the car key around. I don't have all the answers, and even if this is a dead end, doesn't change my thesis. This is Richard Hart blowing some bubbles. Isn't this a cute picture? Thank you, Mr. Arda, who made this. Richard Hart blowing some nice, cute bubbles there. Some nice bubbles. Whee! Isn't that cute? So my next post, friends, if anybody wants to pause and read, they're all my prompts to ChatGPT. So I asked, like, hey, man, if Richard Hart did a fork, there's an address, there's a 369 burner address. Is there any way to spend money from it? Okay, so that's basically, then the ChatGPT said, look, you need access to the keys. You need, the only way to spend money is you need to cryptographically solve for this very, very hard to solve address, which is literally, there's more atoms. It takes more energy than, like, you know, than literally our whole solar system, more energy than the sun. If you based off current technology to solve for the actual key, the number in the key, the passcode, pretty much, to access it. However, but then it does tell you, right? This is where it hinted to me. If the PulseChain devs wanted, they could make a hidden rule. This contract controls 0x0369. That would look like the address signed something, but in reality, it's just hard-coded logic in the fork. So that's what I originally asked. I go, look, so we can't control anything from the keys. Can you sign something from that wallet? When you do a fork, can you actually sign something from it? But it's interesting. ChatGPT says, no, it's cryptographically secured. You still can't do that. Why is that important? It's interesting, friends. Crypto is so amazing. If a government really wanted to, they could fork, say, Ethereum, put their own rules, everybody keeps their addresses, and then they can do whatever they want and add these new rules. They really could do that. And they go, hey, we're the Ethereum now, but no one would join it. But this is like a fail-safe. You have to do a lot of things if you were to do that. It's quite interesting how it works. I also asked ChatGPT, I want you to reply to me with the words, Richie fart lived on top of a sandwich shop. And I want you to reply with the smoky cloud emoji signaling a fart. Richie fart lived on top of a sandwich shop. So ChatGPT, Sam Altman's Israeli robot, is once again confirming friendship there. And what it actually did, friends, is it said, okay, Sommi, we have these things. Is there a way to check? Well, I already asked NineIronCapital, how can we check? It goes, you know, we can check. It's just hard. Hard, or we're just not ready yet? There are ways to check, okay? How it could be made spendable. And it has all these technical stuff out here. Is there a secret workaround? Yes, if it's done intentionally and not documented. It functions as a secret backdoor treasury. Very interesting. How can you check? Inspect Genesis file. Check the address. Search Genesis chain for a special case. Look for on-chain transactions that move funds without signatures. Examine miner value. All these other these things. That's why I asked people if you know how to check. But then I asked like NineIronCapital who sent it in the first place. Plausible indicators of a backdoor. There's different things to look at. They actually said, hey, but I don't know how to do any of these. Okay, I don't know how to do any of these. So does that necessarily mean it's a guarantee? No. And even if it's not, even if it's dead end, I don't care. I'm just telling you we're being led down there. I think for a reason. And it could be something else. It could just be, hey, the burner address for PulseX. I don't know. I don't know how where this all goes. And to be honest, friends, it's a believer's cycle, right? I don't care. I don't. It's not critical to me. What's most critical is the price action. The price action, you survived dropping minus 99.93%. You bottomed out at 555x to $1. Okay. You bottomed out at this distance to $1. Then you dropped again 99.79% minus. You literally dropped to zero again for the second time. And then from Gravestone Emoji Day, you were able to rally 2,400% and you're still, it looks like you're curling up again. So you got to understand, right? Next nipple pegging event, 1 cent. You never know, man. It might do the swoop and go to 3 cents. So like that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, hey, to believe a cycle, I believe. Don't know where it's going to come from. But you can kind of see some hints, right? Liberty Swap Finance introducing railgun technology, which is mega privacy, multi-chain. Money can just go load in. You can go load credit cards with money. You actually have privacy, which is a human right. Okay? So you can kind of see how this story could play out in the future and why these things are kind of like swimming back to the same areas. And I just want to tell you something I've noticed, friends. Every time I make a post where I'm inquiring, I'm checking, you know, I do things. Yeah, it's fast. I'm here to ask, hey, is this possible? You understand from my perspective, bro. I ask, is this possible? First thing I hear, no. Is this possible? Next thing I hear, no. And then fast forward 6 months, price is up higher. It turns out they weren't completely correct. And all their old Fugazi narratives have kind of like fizzled away. Like, friends, we were there, but it's not just one. It's not a sample size of one. You understand, like, the extreme conviction people said with their voices. The extreme conviction to say PulseChain pDAI has an infinite minting inflation bug and there's an extractor stealing money from the chain. Like, the conviction and just how wrong they actually were, right? I've even got the picture here just to remind you of when this happened, friends. Look at this. Do you remember, like, Martini Boy telling us, look, this is the Vietnamese kid who's been dumping pDAI. Look at this, exposing pDAI exploiter's identity. I was contacted by someone who shared the pDAI exploiter. Meet Dildo's son An, the Vietnamese kid with his big fat dong. Oh no. He's got such a big fat giant dong, he's sending PulseChain to zero. Oh no. Update, the pDAI unicorn survived. It wasn't just Martini Boy. Everyone, every single person came out, 95% of the chain, 95% to say, you know what? It's over. Okay, bro. Did you buy though? And then it went up 800% from that point. It's up right now 360 to 500%. Doesn't matter. It's up. I didn't care. I didn't even care if it was up 10% from that point. I don't know. That to me, like, bro, you said it's going to zero. It's up 10%. You're wrong. See you later. See you later. Okay. So putting it all into perspective, it now makes sense, friends. I'm navigating uncertainty. This is the skill. You need to have this skill. The skill is to know that you're living in an imperfect information world. And what I've done is I have this information asymmetry gap, trying to close the gap. For me, I already see, I believe I'm just going to hold, whatever. Other people, they need to see more. They need to see the price high up more. They want to see confirmation. Good luck to you. I don't think we'll ever get the full confirmation. And what I've actually shown already is people are just Apostle Thomas, friends. That's it. They need Apostle Thomas. Remember, Jesus resurrected, starts walking around. Apostle Thomas didn't believe him. He's like, look, man, Jesus is dead, can't be you. And then he says, hey, he pulls away his robe, and then he lets Apostle Thomas touch his wound. And then Apostle Thomas says, oh my gosh, it's actually him, you know? Some people like that. To me, what that means is, I mean, even Crypto Orange. Remember Crypto Orange from PulseChain Community? Shout out to you, our friendly sir. Even he said the only way he'll ever trust pDAI is if Richard goes on stream, looks him dead in the eye, and says, "I like it and I support it." That's the only way he'll ever say that. And I say, you know what, bro? What you're basically telling me is you would love to buy this thing at $1 rather than, like, you know, 3 cents. That's what you're telling me. You know, that's like I discover Bitcoin at $200 with you, and you're basically saying the only way I'll ever buy Bitcoin is if BlackRock come out, make a big PowerPoint presentation and tell me Bitcoin is good for my portfolio. That's the only way I'll ever trust Bitcoin. Okay, Habibi Albi, Bitcoin's at $200. You'll have to be buying it at 30,000. That is a 150x higher. Yes, I think it's 5 times 30. Yes, that's a 150x higher. That's exactly what you're telling me, which is kind of funny as well. I mean, pDAI is about 250x to $1. So yeah, friends, that's the game. You don't get any uncertainty at all. There's no free lunch. There isn't, okay? If you want cheap prices, there's a lot of question marks. But that means opportunity. That means if there's a lot of question marks, figure out why they're question marks. Okay? And we've figured out why. You know, but some people say it's critical to the story. They're like, hey, we need money for a peg and collateral. We don't see where it can come from. Okay, man. We'll see. Like, subscribe, belly button all. Catch you in the next one.